excited to be here. Oh, I do have my timer. No, okay, good. So I'm very excited to be here. I have a lot of information to share, and my translators have reminded me to slow down. Oh, I may be getting a high five. There you go. So I'm going to do my best, because I tend to talk pretty quickly. So my job today is to really get into all of your heads and make you master prospectors. So before I start, I want to just spend a few moments on your why. We talk a lot about in this business that you have to have a strong why, right? How many of you have really taken the time to write down your why? You're really crystal clear on why it is that you're doing the business. When I first joined, one of the first things my parents said to me is, you have to be so clear on what your future is. And it's so interesting. I started in the business when I was 22. I met, which I'm going to tell you the story how, my husband, who became a husband, but I met him a year into the business. And I always said that my vision in life was to be married and have children. And I always knew that I wanted to have a big business. I never wanted to be dependent on anyone. I liked the independence of not ever having to depend on anyone for things that I wanted or things that I wanted to do. I always wanted to be financially independent, and I wanted to marry somebody knowing that I would be financially independent and I would choose my partner because they were the right partner in life, not because of the finances. So that was important to me. The other thing that was really important to me was to be a fantastic mother and wife, but really to be a fantastic mother. I know my husband, every time I say that, my husband goes, "And what about the wife part?" I'm like, yeah. But, because my mother was truly my role model. And I watched, my mom just really made us her priority. So when I joined the business, that was my vision. And I'm just sharing some pictures with you. These were all pictures taken within the last 12 months. The picture on the top left was Mitchell and I in Lake Como in Italy last summer. Like I said, Europe is definitely our favorite place. In the middle, we took the kids skiing in Vail, and that was my vitality shot. And on the right, we took the kids over Christmas. We took them to Cortina in Italy skiing, and then we stopped in Venice for a few days, which is the picture on the top right. Then we went down to Spain. Where is Sam? There you go. We went to Spain we spent New Year's Eve having uvas and champagne. And so that was the picture down in the bottom right. And then in the middle, actually the middle bottom was the picture of Cortina. But we believe in working hard and playing hard. And I listened to all the team elites, and Carolee's story was fantastic on, how he just shut off his cell phone. That's one thing I've never done, but I think I'm going to try that one day. I live by my cell phone, but I just think it is amazing that this is a type of business that you can work hard and really create a residual passive income down the road, but you have to be clear on your why. The reason you have to be clear is because it's not the easiest business. It's a simple business, right? It comes down to doing the same things over and over and over again. And this afternoon I spent some time with some distributors, and I was saying the beauty of our business is that you learn the basics, you master the basics, and then it's just a matter of how often you want to repeat them. Because if I look at what I am doing today in Nu Skin, honestly, it is exactly the same as what I did when I built the business 23 years ago. And that's a really fantastic thing, because you don't have to, always be doing something different. And yes, you want to spend the time in personal development, learning, and keeping it fresh, but the basics are the basics. Basics are never, ever, ever going to change. So I have a saying in this business, and that is that prospecting is the first step in solving all problems. And I really believe this, because you could be the greatest presenter in the world, you could be the greatest closer in the world, you could be the greatest trainer in the world, you could be a really great person at creating the relationships in your team that makes your team want to stay in, but if you don't start with the prospecting, you're nowhere. So that's the first step. And then you have to obviously work on everything else, but this is where it all starts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the basics on everyone that's brand new, right? You're new, you're signing somebody up into the business that's new. First thing you have to do is teach them to create their list. And you all know the acronym FFBC. It's friends, family, business, and community. And when you think about it, I always tell people, your list is a never-ending list. Because everyone initially starts with creating a list of the people they know, but then the list is constantly going to grow over time. Right? Because you're going to run into people, you're going to remember people, you're going to meet new people. I mean, if you're really, building this business, your list is constantly going to grow. And when you sit down and think about friends, it's not just your best friends. It's not just the people, you're going out with on a Saturday night. It's people that you're friendly with. Friendly enough that you can pick up the phone and call them or send them an email and say, there's something really interesting I want to talk to you about. When would be a good time to reach you? So, you have your family, you have your, and again, you go through your whole friends. You've got your high school friends, your college friends, your summer friends. I know I have certain people that I only see in the summertime and certain people I tend to see more in the wintertime. You really start to put together these lists. Your people that you do business with, either because you are their patron or maybe you go to their salon or you go to their restaurant or you buy clothes from them or any of the businesses that you support, anyone that you know who sold you your car, your insurance. I mean, you really, again, I know this is all included in the OTG system, so you have the memory joggers and all that. People in your community, right? Your community, it's huge. Between people that you know from schools and from your churches or your temples and the philanthropic organizations you belong to. When you really sit down and think about your list, it can be tremendous. So think of your list as your inventory. If you owned a retail clothing store, right, what would your inventory be? It'd be the clothes, right? So the bigger your clothes, the more clothes you have in that store, the more you're going to be able to sell, the more business you're going to be able to do. Well, in our business, our inventory are people, right? That's the inventory. The larger the list, the more business you're gonna create. Never edit your list. I am telling you that this is the #1 mistake people make. They immediately say, she's too busy, he's too successful, she would never be into a business like this, and they pre-edit their list and they decide who should and shouldn't be involved in the business. And I will tell you, how many people in this room have had an experience where somebody that you edited because you thought, oh, they wouldn't be into it, wound up getting into the business under someone else? Anyone? Okay, a lot of hands up. How many of you have gone to a meeting and you ran into somebody that you knew but also never prospected? Right? And how does that make you feel? Yeah, not good. It's a horrible feeling. So bottom line is you owe it to everyone to introduce it to them and let them decide if it's for them or not. Constantly add to your list. I'm going to give you a lot of information on that. Something that I found helped is when I sit down with someone new, I give them 3 lists to create, just to help them frame it in their mind. And all these lists kind of go back to FFBC. So the first thing I say is, I want you to create a list right now of people that you think would be great in the business, either because of a special quality or a special need. So the qualities would be, I'd say, who do you know who's high energy, super connector, knows a lot of people, has great influence with people, and I start just giving them characteristics of people traits that I want them to think about. Oh, who do I know of my friends, right, that's super high energy? Who in my family has super high energy? Who in my business community, what store do I go into and the owner just is like, or the manager or someone who works there is fabulous. Super energy makes you feel great every time you walk in. That person should be on your list. Then who do you know who might have a need? Now, this one is interesting because you never really know. Sometimes you know because people have shared with you. And I have found that in a bad economy, right, or in a recovering economy, people are very willing and very open to talking about how the economy has impacted them. Maybe it's because, when it's not a bad economy, nobody wants to be the only one not doing well, but in a bad economy, I find people are like an open book. And they're very willing to talk about, oh, I wish I could do that, or I normally go away in the summer, but this year, there's just, money's tight. And people will say things, and it plants a thought. So you say, you can always use things that people say.